All right, Rod, we're live on YouTube. Let me know when you want to get ready, get started.
Yeah, let's do it, right?
Yep.
All right. Thanks everyone for attending my Platoon graduation demo day. Before we start, I want to thank a few folks who helped make my Platoon such a success. First of all, our volunteers, our mentors, teaching assistants, and board members who work diligently behind the scenes to help our students and organization, asking nothing in return. I also want to thank our sponsor companies, Chicago Trading Company, DRW, Motorola Solutions, JP Morgan Chase, Kin & Carta, and 20 Spokes. These companies have committed to host a graduate or two for a paid internship after graduation. It is the support of these companies and companies like them that help fill the critical void between our training and launching a career. For those of you not familiar with Code Platoon, we are a nonprofit coding bootcamp with a mission to train veterans, active duty, and military spouses to become professional software developers. On February 1st, we will celebrate our 5-year anniversary for our first cohort, and with this class, we will have over 140 graduates. We aim to lower barriers into a technical career with our 14-week immersive program with generous scholarships and strong career services support, including internships, which I mentioned before with the sponsor companies. So now, without further ado, I'd like to introduce the first team, SkillLink.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our presentation. Thank you for being here. I'd like to start by introducing our team members. I'm Frankie Fabrash. I'm an 8-year Army veteran, and I will provide a brief overview of SkillLink.
I'm Jarrett Hosey. I'm a 4-year Army veteran. I'll be going over the main functionality of our app.
I'm Dylan Southwick. I'm a 4-year Navy veteran, and I will be covering the architecture of our application and some of the challenges we faced.
My name is Tommy Lusk. I'm a 5-year Marine Corps veteran, and I'll be demonstrating our web application.
And hello, everyone. My name is Yang, and on behalf of Team SkillLink, I'd like to welcome everyone to our presentation, and to all the friends who are watching me and know me, hello. I'll be covering the non-technical part of this project, and I will cover the stretch goals and end the presentation with Q&A session.
Okay, so what is SkillLink? Our initial project idea was to create a job searching tool that focuses specifically on skill alignment. Our target audience is users with particular skills looking to learn more about careers that match their skill set. SkillLink is a research tool that uses data from the U.S. Department of Labor, and it bridges the gap between skills and your next potential career. I will now pass it over to Jarrett, who will discuss how SkillLink actually works.
Thank you, Frankie. The first thing users will do is fill out a survey of 40 skills. They can select their confidence in each skill that is relevant to them. When they submit their survey, users will get a list of related careers based on their selected skills. They can select each one to find out more information, such as salary, education, and available job listings. And now I'll pass it off to Dylan.
Thank you, Jarrett. For the architecture of our application, we utilized the React JavaScript library for designing the user interface, and we used the Python framework Django to handle the bulk of our API calls on the back end. Also, with the Career One-Stop API, we were able to access job information that is populated directly from the United States Department of Labor. As for some of the challenges we faced as a team, we were initially using a different source for our job information, but we learned a few days into the project that we would not be able to access all the information we required. So we expanded our search to find a better resource. This was a reminder that we may not always succeed on the first try, and we should always be prepared to adapt. Another challenge we faced as a team was learning how to optimize our workflow in a remote environment. With half of us being in different time zones, it was difficult to maintain efficient contact. However, after implementing a team schedule, we were able to maximize our effective communication and focus on pushing forward with our project. I will now pass it over to Yang to go over team practices.
Thank you very much, Dylan. So far, we've covered the technical aspect of our project, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the non-technical parts. I will start off by saying the pair programming. At first, I was not fully appreciating the value of pair programming. But the more I do it, the more I realize how imperative it is to work with my teammates, especially when it comes to our team. Each team member has a very different skill sets and diverse strength. So I thought I was decent with JSON and React and Django. But whenever I pair program with my teammate, there's always something new I can learn from them. And also daily stand-ups and daily stand-downs just help us keep a track of where we are and stay on the same page. We always pull up the Trello board and go over the tasks we have planned for that particular day in the morning. And then by the end of the day, we always go back to the Trello board, make sure we have crossed off some to-do list and evaluate how we did that day, where we did bad, and we can come up with a better solution for the second day. And pull requests and code review. This is a great habit I believe all of us have developed during the project production. As the project is larger and larger, we always open up a new branch whenever we develop a new feature to make sure that we keep our code clean and modular. And we always at least have 2 team members review the code before we merge the pull request. And that's a lot of PowerPoint slides so far. And now I'd like to pass it on to Tommy to give us an amazing video demonstration of our web.
Hello, everyone. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to give you a quick overview of the SkillLink web app. We're currently looking at SkillLink's homepage, where users are presented with 2 options, either search jobs or enter skills. So let's go ahead and get started by selecting search jobs. Using the search job function is something that is likely familiar to most of you or anyone who has used popular job search engines like Indeed or LinkedIn. I can input keywords like software engineer and optionally a location. And as a result, I can get relevant job postings. On each one of these cards, you will find job title, company name, and date of the post. And lastly, you can also view specific requirements of the job by clicking View Details. Now, let's go back to the homepage because I'd like to demonstrate SkillLink's premier feature, which is the actual process of going from skills to jobs. I'll start by selecting Enter Skills and writing my local zip code. When I click Confirm, I'm now prompted with a brief survey. This survey is made up of 40 unique skill categories. These skill categories were actually created by the U.S. Department of Labor in cooperation with the American Job Center. These skill categories help to enumerate thousands of different career types. What SkillLink offers, though, is a new way for users to interface with this data. Rather than sifting through the data on my own, SkillLink bridges the gap between my known skills and unknown potential careers. So as previously stated, if some of these skill categories are not applicable to you, you can skip them. SkillLink does require a minimum of 8. So monitoring for me, maybe not so confident. Negotiation, no. Operational analysis, I'll give that very confident. Programming, very confident. I like to think so. I know my instructors are watching. We'll know for sure later. Systems analysis. Okay, I think that's enough for me. So I'm going to go ahead and submit. And when I submit, I'm now presented with a list of potential careers based on my survey inputs. At this point, I can just shop around for careers that interest me. You may notice the gray badge at the bottom of each card. This badge leverages U.S. Department of Labor statistics on the growth rate of each career. So as I peruse this selection here, you'll notice that I'm probably going to pick web developers because that does interest me. And I'll click on full occupational details. And when I do, I can now see the career overview page for web developers. I can watch an informational video. I can check out things like median annual salary, daily activities, related occupations, and necessary knowledge, abilities, and skills for web developers. Then also, if I move over to related occupations, I can select another career like web administrators and view its overview page. So I think web administrators is pretty interesting, but I'm more concerned with being a web developer. So I'm going to go back to that page. Now, I know I want to be a web developer. I think I'm cut out for it based on the SkillLink match, but what if I don't have the formal education necessary? Well, in that case, you can just click on educational resources. And now I'm presented a list of educational resources specific to my location and becoming a web developer. Naturally, Code Platoon is at the top. If I want to contact a school directly, I can view the contact information on the card, or I can go right to its site by clicking View Site. So that concludes our demonstration. I'm going to pass it back on to Yang, who's going to talk about our stretch goals.
Thank you very much, Tommy. I'm already very proud of this amazing product we've done so far, but we can always make a great product even better. So that's why I'm here to talk about our stretch goals we have in mind. So the primary mission of our site is to aid job seekers in the job market. So it's always a better idea to provide them with even more learning resources. We can make external APIs to fetch more information such as Coursera and Udemy and display that on a website. We can also send end users email notifications about any new features we've developed or any new job postings in their local areas once they save that job. We were even thinking about embedding Google Map within our project, so that way user can have the option to toggle between a list view or a map view to help them visualize the entire project a lot easier. So at this point, we would like to conclude our presentation, and we're going to open the floor up to any questions and feedback. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you, Yang and Skill Link. If you have any questions, please post them in the YouTube chat. In the YouTube chat. We have one question coming in. What was the biggest technical hurdle you as a team had to overcome?
I can pick that question up. Thank you very much for asking that. I'd say learning React as a team. Working as a team, definitely, like I said, everyone has their strength and the things they're better at. We're at different levels when it comes to React and Django. So when we pair program, we definitely, I reach out to each other and teach each other how, like, for example, the React hooks are used. A lot of reading documentations to make sure everybody's on the same page. And even though I know we spend a lot of time pair programming with each other, it's kind of like pair programming, making the product / tutoring each other how React works. So yeah, that's it.
Awesome. We have another one coming in. What all APIs were used for this data, and how did you choose which APIs you were going to use?
You want to take that one, Dylan?
Yeah, I know we initially were using one API, like I said before, but we ended up landing on Career One Stop for the bulk of our job outlook information. And I know as far as our job search, go ahead and take that one, Tommy.
So our job search, we have a job search autocomplete function or autocomplete feature that helps us to normalize our data to actually pull the open skills data, which is provided by the Department of Labor. So the autocomplete feature is a separate API that also pulls from Department of Labor. So the root of all the data comes from Department of Labor, but we have two different providers.
Awesome. Thank you. And that concludes all the questions for SkillLink. So thank you, SkillLink. And then our next group, Truth or Dare, takes a unique take on a fun and classic game. So take it away, Truth or Dare.
Thanks so much, Tom. Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming to our graduation. We're so excited to show you what we've been working on for the past 2.5 weeks. We created a multiplayer web app, which emulates the most timeless game ever created in human history, Truth or Dare, with a modern party game twist on it. So first, let's meet the team. I'm Emma, I'm an Army veteran, and I will be guiding you through our demo.
Hi, I'm Tim. I'm an Army veteran, and I'm going to cover the game's target market and use case.
Hi, I'm Brittany. I'm a Marine Corps veteran, and I'll be covering our game rules.
Hi, I'm Jarrett, My wife is an Air Force reservist, and I'll be covering the architecture of our app.
Hi, my name is Michael, and I'm a Marine Corps veteran. I will be going over some of the top features and challenges of the app.
Hi, I'm Julius, and I'm also a Marine Corps vet. I worked on building our app's React front end with Michael and Britt, and I'll go over our project scope and design philosophy. Our goal with Truth or Dare was to create an experience that is as much a game as it is a social media app. Its conception is in some ways a response to the pandemic because it challenges both the limitations COVID places on us and the anxiety that creates. Truth or Dare accomplishes this by rewarding us for discovering, engaging, and confiding in one another. So how do we do this? We provide a virtual space for friends, family, colleagues, and coworkers to connect and interact with the added incentive of play. We provide online real-time peer-to-peer video and audio conferencing for up to 4 players. We utilize anonymous user authentication to keep players' virtual spaces private and safe. So unlike most modern social media tools, Truth or Dare does not collect any user data. And finally, we stimulate play through an intuitive and responsive user interface and a clean set of visuals accented with fun and inviting colors by utilizing style and animation libraries like Rebase and GreenSock Animation Platform, or GSAP for short. By using these libraries, we were able to easily style our app to capture how Truth or Dare is timeless, that it's a game that can be played anywhere and by anyone. To elaborate on our target audience, I'll pass it off to Tim.
Thanks, Julius. The target market for our app is 20 to 30-year-olds seeking to remotely connect to have fun. They'll likely be working from home as so much of the country is right now. None of the cards are inappropriate for younger demographics, but some of the content may be less relatable to younger generations, such as the early 2000s pop music references. That said, the gameplay is simple enough to be accessible to anyone with a web browser, from your tech-savvy younger siblings to your Luddite aunt. You simply enter your name and click to find a game, where you're matched with 3 players and the fun commences. I'm happy to introduce Britt, who will explain the rules of the game.
Thank you, Tim. So in order to play a game of Truth and Dare, you will need 4 players. Once all 4 players are ready, 1 player will be set to the hot seat, while the remaining 3 will be judgment players. During each round, the judgment players will select 1 card from their hand for the hot seat player to perform. In order to accumulate points, the hot seat player must play 1 card from the hand before the timer runs out. If the hot seat player beats the clock, the remaining players will vote on whether the hot seat player deserves points, and this process will be repeated until a winner is declared. Now, I will hand it back to Emma, who will walk us through our video.
So before we get started with the game, I wanted to give you all a tour of our user interface. Almost everything you see here is data stored in our database that is being manipulated through logic in the front end, depending on what is going on in the game. So if you look at the top here, we have a round counter, and that will increment as the rounds advance. On the right here, this is a static component, but this will toggle the rules. So when you click on it, a box with the rules will appear, and when you click off of it, the box will disappear. And you can access this at any point during the game. And below that, we see the beautiful, handsome faces of my fellow group members. They look so excited to be playing this game. And this gold circle here means that Tim will be the hot seat player for this round. Below the player avatars, we have the game messages. And these messages will kind of guide you through the game and provide guidance when you are unsure about what to do next. And below that, we will see the Truth or Dare cards that are played to the field. Each card will have a point value that is stored here in this circle. And you will also be able to see who played each card this round. On the very bottom, you will see the Show Hand button. And when you click this, it'll open your hand in the bottom part of your screen. And if you click outside of your hand, it will minimize it. And now that you know the general layout of our game, we will move into the gameplay. So I'll let my wonderful teammates take you through a round of our game.
Oh boy, I got a good hand. I got a good one for you, Julius.
Yeah, bring it on.
You ready, buddy?
That's not so bad at all. For me, I just happen to have a bowl with me wherever I go.
Oh, there we go. That's what I wanted to see. It's my favorite color too, so I accept it.
Beautiful. I'll take it.
Once a card was selected, we went to the voting phase where Julius completed the dare by putting a bowl on his head. And after the timer ran out, it moved on to the next phase where it evaluates the votes. And since everyone voted yes, you could tell by the blue circles around their avatars, Julius's score was then incremented by 1, the point value of the card. And now we will move on to a later round and show you how this game ends. All right, so now we are at a later phase in the game. As you can see, Tim, the current hot seat player, has 9 points. He just needs 1 more point to win. And I think he'll be able to get it in this round. But there's also a wild card on the field. And a wild card is something that you can edit as you play the game, and you can type in whatever you want. And if the hot seat player feels daring enough, he or she or they can choose it. All right, let's see what happens next. I dare you to sing the hook to your favorite Britney song. Well, I don't think we should subject the audience to that kind of torture. So let's go ahead and just go through this last phase and end the game here.
What was it, Tim? What's the hardest thing you've ever done?
Code Platoon.
And now you see the timer running down. 3, 2, 1. Tim succeeded and gained 2 points. And it added it to his score. And Tim is the winner. And that concludes our demo. Now I'm going to pass it off to Jarrett, who will tell us more about the technical details of our project.
Thanks, Emma. Hi again, everyone. Now that you've seen the game in action, I'll quickly go over its high-level architecture. Since the game features rely heavily on real-time updates, we decided to build our project around 2 major components. 1, a cloud database that would be our source of truth during gameplay, and 2, a user interface that would be dynamic and mimic the experience of a card-playing game. We completed a research spike in the first week of our project and decided our best combination would be Cloud Firestore with React. Cloud Firestore provides a flexible NoSQL database, real-time update capabilities, and easy integration with React. We were already more familiar with React and knew we could easily style components using Rebase and animate with GSAP. The diagram on the next slide will show an example of our main gameplay functionality. So you can see there when player 1 clicks to play a card from their hand, the other player's UIs are immediately updated with that card in the shared field. All players' local apps have an on-snapshot method that detects changes to the shared field document in Firestore. So when there's a change, React uses hooks to update the player's local state and renders components so that the players can see the new card. So that covers the high-level app architecture. To discuss a couple of other features and challenges, I'll pass it off now to Michael.
Thanks, Jarrett. Our team was committed to writing clean, maintainable, and tested code. When working on a project with 6 individuals, there are a lot of branches that need to merge together into one polished product. That is why we set up a continuous integration pipeline with GitHub Actions and Cypress to run automated integration tests every time we push code. These checks would lint our code and, most importantly, prevent pushing code with breaking changes, as well as give us a visual notification that all checks had passed before anyone even reviewed the code. By utilizing this workflow, we were able to be confident in our production branch's integrity and quickly fix problems before they turned up in our head branch. We also had a big decision to make on one of our stretch goals. We wanted our users to be able to rely solely on the application instead of utilizing a third party for audio and video capabilities, but it was a big lift. Utilizing the Twilio API and a Django backend, we were able to design an application that allowed them to see and hear each other when they were in the same game room. This proved to be a great addition to the application, but we had to be very careful to keep game state aligned with that room state. Ultimately, it provided an interactive and fun experience to everyone that plays our game. Thanks so much for checking out our project. And now we would love to open up the floor to your questions.
Awesome. Thank you, Truth or Dare team. We have several questions coming in Roughly how many cards are in the main deck?
In the main deck right now, we have 30 truth cards, 30 dare cards, and 6 wild cards.
All right, awesome.
For a total of 66 cards.
All right, and any plans for deck expansions based on certain themes?
That was an idea we threw around in the beginning. We even wanted to build in a deck editor and the option to have a deck with all wilds, so you can make up the game as you go with your friends. But that was more of a stretch goal, and we ended up settling on an MVP where the decks are set in the beginning.
Awesome. Why did you choose Cloud or the Firestore backend versus just like regular Firebase?
So Firebase evolved into Cloud Firestore, and now they have a real-time database, which used to be Firebase. And in the real-time database, which is old Firebase, you aren't allowed to create collections. You can only have documents in there. But with Cloud Firestore, you're allowed to create collections. And it functions kind of like your computer directory, where inside of a collection, you can store a bunch of documents. And then it also chains. So from a document, you can create another collection. And then it goes collection, document, as long as you'd want it to go.
Awesome. How did you determine who worked on the front end versus the back end, or did one individual do the whole stack based off of different features?
So Firestore was kind of my idea. So I paired with Jarrett for that, and we did a research spike, and it was a big learning curve because we had been working with Django for the past 8 weeks. But after about a week, I think Jared and I got the hang of it. And in the meantime, the other team was working on the front end and the styling with mocked up.
Awesome. What was the biggest technical hurdle you as a team had to overcome?
I think for this one, it was probably auto advancing the phases. So when you saw the game, it goes from like a play card phase, and then the hot seat player can select a card. And whenever these in-game actions happen that trigger a phase change, there's a function in the background that sees that phase change in the database and then runs a different function to execute the next part of the game. And a big problem here was that at first we didn't wrap it in a condition. So it would execute 4 times, once for each person in the room. And because of that, we had to find a condition that would allow that code to be only ran on one person's computer. So we used, we stored the local player, like who you are on your machine. And if you were the hot seat player on that local player state that we were tracking, then we would run it on your machine. But for a future version, I think it would be better to designate a host rather than have a rotating hot seat player that would execute all of the game functions in the background.
Awesome. Thank you. That concludes all the questions from YouTube and Zoom. Thank you, Truth or Dare. So next up is a fun retro game to keep us all entertained during these tough times. I'll introduce Garden Game.
Hello and good afternoon. Our team is thrilled to introduce to you all the Garden Game. But before we do that, let's have an introduction from all the team members.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Aizat. I'm a military spouse. My husband serves in Air National Guard.
Hello, my name is Jason Rideout, and I'm a 5-year United States Navy veteran.
Hi, I'm Luis, and I'm a 5-year United States Navy veteran.
Hi, my name is Timothy Cummings, and I'm a 10-year veteran in the United States Air Force.
And last but not least, I'm Zachary Jarrell Thomas, a 6-year veteran of the United States Air Force. Are you someone who's interested in testing out their green thumb, but doesn't have the time or physical space to plant your own personal garden? Do you find yourself going the less stressful route, playing games such as Farmville or Harvest Moon in your spare time to scratch that itch? If this sounds like you, you're in luck. Garden Game is an online, real-time desktop game application. It is a single-player game where users are able to plant seeds, grow flowers, and collect money experience points through harvesting. Users are encouraged to compete with other players of the game via the leaderboard. Our team's goal was to create a fun and easy-to-play game for all ages to enjoy. Now, without further ado, let's join Tim in the garden.
Thank you, Drew, and welcome everybody to our gardening game. In our garden, there are some rules that we like to call the law of the land, which you can view by pressing this button here on the bottom of our menu screen. But don't worry about that for now. Let's hop right on into the game. You click the top button in the menu, it takes you to the login page. And I'm going to log into a new account to simulate what you would see when making a brand new account. And here we are, your very first garden. It's empty right now, but that's where you come in. If you click on one of your garden plot points, a menu will appear to give you some seeds to buy to plant in your garden. It's small right now, but don't worry, it will grow as you level up. When you select your seed, a small mound appears in your plot point. If you click that again, a separate menu will appear to allow you to water your plant. Your plant's not going to grow without water, but as you notice, the amount of water that is on your plot point will dissipate over time. It looks like this flower has fully grown. So if we click on it one more time, now we can harvest the plant. When you harvest a flower, you gain some experience and some currency that you can use to spend on different flowers. Now that I am level 1, I can click on another plot point and I have access to some more flowers. We can go ahead and plant these, and you'd follow the same steps as you would with the tutorial flower. The soothing music that you hear in the background, as well as all of the sound effects, can be controlled with the interface at the bottom right-hand screen. Let's go ahead and jump into my personal garden so we can see some more advanced and higher level flowers. Here you see on my account, I'm level 3, and I have access to a couple more flowers, so we can go ahead and plant some of these. You may be noticing that our flower names seem a little silly. That's because all of the names are based off of people inside of our cohort. Just like before with the tutorial flower, we have to water each and every plant to get them to grow. As you see here, we have an Augie Beauty, which is based in Chicago, and a Timid, which is based from New Orleans. Now that I've harvested some plants, I have some more experience points. If I check the leaderboards, I can see my other gardeners. Looks like I'm a little bit behind Jarrell, and I don't know about catching up to John. One of the cool things about our app is that the weather updates in real time per the location that you are currently in. So if it is snowing, it will be snowing inside of your game, as well as raining. Don't worry though, this doesn't affect your garden and you can grow flowers in any condition. If we come back to our home page, if you notice the sun in the top right-hand corner, clicking this is an Easter egg that'll show you all of the creators. Our profile pictures are clickable and will open up straight to our LinkedIn profile pages. And speaking of Jason, let's turn over to him so we can talk about some of the technical aspects that were used to build this garden game.
Thanks. To create a garden game, we used a variety of technologies using programming languages Python and JavaScript. Django handles our database operations. We store usernames with their associated gardens and statistics. Our database models center around the user model, which we extended with relationships to the garden and profile models. The user's profile contains the user's experience, level, and balance of in-game money. Garden contains the size of the garden to allow easy expansion. And our team chose to store plants in another model to easily add new plants. Finally, plants that have been planted are stored in another model and removed when harvesting. Our design choices were based on scalability and looking ahead to potential new features. Along with Django, we chose to use Django REST framework and JSON web tokens. Web tokens are an easy way to ensure only authorized users can gain access. In this case, only players who are logged in can perform actions in the game. Django REST framework has built-in interactivity with JSON web tokens and easy access to information for quick development. The visual display of the game is the user's first impression. Our team used React for its responsiveness and efficiency in rendering only parts of the app that change. Players can see instant changes without refreshing the web page. And for developers, React components allow for object-oriented design and instant program feedback with every code change. Much of the styling of HTML components was provided through Material UI. This includes anything from buttons and tables to sliding volume controls and pop-up boxes. And what video game is complete without animations? Our team chose to use GreenSock Animation Platform, also known as GSAP, to meet the responsiveness we desired. GSAP enhances animation development by hiding most of the underlying code, allowing us to focus more on timing and effects. GSAP also adds timelines, which allow animations to be joined, resulting in more detail. To deepen the connection with the user, we chose to display the current weather the user might be experiencing in their real-world location. And to do this, we used IPify to get the location of the user's IP address, which we send to OpenWeatherMap API to get the current weather. The resulting weather is displayed in-game. Lou, can you tell us how it all came together?
Yeah, sure. To keep ourselves organized and on schedule, we implemented strategies from scaled, agile framework. We did daily stand-up and stand-down, planning poker, pair programming, and incremental design. Along with all this, we had a 2 approval requirement for a pull request to be merged. This allowed other members to get insight on what is changing with the project. Now, I'll transition to some of the challenges we encountered. We face challenges with merge conflicts, live share, and our APIs. Merge conflicts were an issue at the start and were taking up a lot of time as it would require more than one team member to resolve the issue. We got better at this, ensuring we merged all current changes of the main branch with our feature branches before we made a pull request. VSCO live share was an issue when pair programming. We had instances where we were completely off sync and the editor was slow to apply changes. This made it difficult to test changes because the host editor was still catching up. With our APIs, we had to change which API we use to grab the player's IP and location. The first API we used started to have high latency issues. One other issue we were facing was that our weather API was hitting its quota with all 5 of us making requests at the same time. Now, I'm passing it to Izad, and she will talk about the stretch goals for the game.
Thank you, Lou. Although we are very pleased with our game, there are a few stretch goals that we would love to add in. The first being a community garden. Having the ability for multiple users to get together and grow flowers in a communal garden would show teamwork and promote users to compete for the best spot on the leaderboard. We would also like to add hindrances to the garden. One idea was insects that would attack your flowers and would stop the growing process unless you added pesticides. One other thing is to utilize the background weather to affect flower growth. If it were to be raining, then the user wouldn't have to water their flowers. And if it were a really sunny day, then the water timer would go down at a faster rate. Finally, we would like to add an expandable garden, where as the user leveled up, they would have access to expand how many plots they have to grow their flowers. Now, with that being said, we would like to open up the floor to some questions and comments.
Thank you, Garden Game team. We have several questions coming in from the chat. So had you thought about making this an application that could be used for actual gardeners, like the ability to plan out a garden, how different plants interact in a positive versus negative way?
I could take that one. We had considered adding in loading screens real planting information and tips. Although adding in a game feature that allows the flowers to interact, like having one flower that maybe discourages bugs from coming or grows better with other flowers, I think that would be a good feature to add, but for stretch goals, definitely.
Awesome. Is there a way to win a game? And if you do win the game, do you get the title of Master Gardener?
I can grab that one. We were considering adding other forms of the leaderboard. So the one that was demonstrated in the video was based on experience. Another one that we were considering using was overall currency gained for the lifespan of your account. And I do think that adding in titles to those would be a great feature and could be something that could be implemented.
Were there any alternative GSAP animation tools that you considered, and why did you decide to use GSAP?
We had done some animation before using GSAP, and when I found GSAP, that reduced a lot of the code and style sheet lines. So most of it was done in like, I don't know, less than 5 lines to do certain animations, and it just made it so easy. It was definitely worth getting.
Awesome. What was the biggest technical hurdle you as a team had to overcome?
I could take that one. I know a big hurdle for us as a team was, for a lot of us, it's the first time we used React's user context. And I know that we experienced a lot of bugs that one of them took us over like a day of debugging. And we even had to have like a whole team session just to see if have everyone's eyes on it. Maybe somebody could have some input for us. But yes, we had problems with saving the user's information with the context. On reloads, all the information would disappear. And we also had issues with the sound. When we had the sound in context and we weren't getting all the sounds to toggle on and off correctly, but we were able to solve all these issues.
Cool. How about the non-technical issues, working as a team in different time zones and just overall communication?
I can take that one. I think like it was new for us, like the working together, but overall, I'm very happy to be in this team. And I think overall as a team, we were really good. So no challenges by communicating, just over communicating. Yeah.
Great. That concludes the questions for the garden game. Our next and final team created the best criteria-based travel app, Travvy. So take it away, Team Travvy.
All right, let me share the screen here. All right, ready to go.
Good afternoon. On behalf of my teammates and myself, we would like to welcome you to the Mike Platoon graduation. We thank each and every one of you for supporting us through this journey. Today, we will be showcasing Travvy, a web application designed to help you travel savvy. In creating Travvy, our team collaborated to overcome technical challenges. We grew together, we used what we learned in the cohort and developed some new skills as well. We built camaraderie and we learned how to work well with each other. Before we examine the specifics of Travvy, I would like to introduce you to the Travvy team. My name is Heather Salyer. I served as a missile technician in the Navy for 5 years. I love to travel, and once it's safe to do so, I hope to make my first trip to South America, traveling to Colombia or Chile.
Hi, my name is Giovanni, and I am currently serving in the Army National Guard. I will be presenting our challenges and stretch goals today, and I would like to take my wife to Italy this year when it's safe.
Hello, my name is Michael Rodriguez. I also go by Rod. I'm a Marine Corps veteran. I'll be giving you a demonstration of the app today, and as soon as we can travel, I'd like to do a Euro trip.
Hi, my name is James. I'm also a Marine veteran, and once everything settles down, I'd like to take my wife to Alaska. I'll be giving you a tour on the technical challenges we had during the application.
And my name's Augie. I was also in the Navy. My spouse and I and a couple of our friends are in the process of planning a trip to Egypt as soon as it's safe to fly again. So what I'm going to talk about today is why we built Travvy and kind of how we came up with the idea. I think with all this time on lockdown that we've all been experiencing, many of us have a hard to reach itch, if you will, to get out and see the world beyond our four walls. We wanted to build an intuitive tool for budget travelers who don't care as much about a specific destination as they do about the price, the climate, or the available activities. We think there's something uniquely inspiring and exciting about finding new destinations that meet your travel goals and don't break the bank. So let's look at the problems we were hoping to solve. First, every destination has different and changing COVID case counts and travel restrictions, and it's hard to keep track with them all. Also, most travel tools are designed for users with a specific destination or a handful of destinations in mind. But many travelers, I think, would appreciate suggestions of new destinations that they hadn't thought of. Another issue is that many of the first destinations that come to mind are also expensive, but there are lots of affordable places that meet your travel needs, but wouldn't immediately spring to mind. Finally, it's hard to get a sense for weather in different parts of the country or the world unless you do a separate search on a separate website. We still have not found other sites that allow you to filter travel destinations based on weather. And we've created a solution to all of these travel pain points. With Travvy, you get real up-to-date COVID information, you get the ability to filter by price and temperature, and we suggest new destinations based on your criteria. I'm going to pass it over to Rod to walk you through the app itself.
Thanks, Augie. So I'd like to plan a trip soon with all the talk of a widely distributed vaccine. Luckily, my friend told me about Travvy, so I already created an account, so let's log in. Looks like here on the homepage, we're greeted with worldwide COVID-19 information to keep me up to date with the latest cases around the world. I also have an area where I can put in my preferences. So on this trip, I'll be traveling alone. I'll go ahead and book a one-way and let Travvy give me more recommendations later. And I'll depart a week after graduation on the 30th. Looks like the maximum budget is preset at $1,500, but I'll go ahead and change that to $500 because I don't want to spend any more than that right now. And temperature is preset to 70 degrees, but I'm in LA, so I'll move that to a little bit cooler, 50 degrees. And I'll find Los Angeles, which should be LAX, on my origin airport, and hit search. Here I'm greeted by all of Travvy's recommendations. As you can see, there's quite a bit based off my preferences, as well as COVID-specific data for each location and weather. Now, if I move my temperature slider or temperature preference up at the top, you can see I get live updates for changes in my recommendations based off my other settings. But I'll go ahead and put that back to 50 degrees and click on Charleston because it's the cheapest right now. Click on Charleston, and here I can see all of the details for my trip. So I'll be going to Charleston. I can see the price located there, as well as my departure date. There's also a video tour of the location that starts playing to get a better feel of where I'll be going. Now, if I want to book this flight, I can go ahead and click the Book This Flight button, and I get redirected to Skyscanner, where I can find that cheap Travvy price that was recommended to me. If I also need a place to stay, I can go ahead and click on Book an Airbnb, and I am directed to Airbnb where I can book a place to stay in Charleston. The local weather is also conveniently located on the page, as well as Charleston data for COVID cases. If I want to find more travel restrictions for the location I'll be going, I can click the alert. And here I see some South Carolina specific restrictions, which is good information to know. Lastly, if I click on the heart up on the top right, I can save this trip to my favorites. And if I go up to the nav bar and click on my favorites, I can see all my favorites, including the Charleston trip we just made. Earlier, I also favored a trip to Anchorage, but to be honest, it's probably a little too cold to be going there, so I'll go ahead and delete that one for now. And I still have the option to book this flight or book a place to stay in Charleston if I want to. So thanks to Travvy for making me travel ready.
Well, thanks a lot, Rod, for that. So let's talk a little bit about our journey. Like all of you, we had a lot of late night coding sessions, a lot of meetings, and a lot of code reviews. So that kind of leads us to the timeline. So our timeline was really about 2 weeks, and we did a lot of work during that time. In fact, you might be asking, how do we get everything done in just 2 weeks? Well, the answer lies in the pattern that we established. As a team, we established continual communication, iterative development, and code reviews. That's just a fancy way of saying that we work on a piece of code until we want the feature we want. We implement it, and then we start all over again. Eventually, we finish the application. Let's talk about some of the technologies that we used to develop this. So I'm really not going to hit on everything here because it's a big list, but at the beginning of this cohort, we learned 2 main programming languages, one being Python and the other being JavaScript. These were really essential and are the foundation of our application. They basically allowed us to use third-party APIs, which is that list you see on the right. And those APIs provided us with real-time data. So we were able to parse and change that data as we got it back from these APIs. Amadeus, for instance, is the flight API that we use and showed us real-time pricing and flight information. The Open Weather API is how we got the weather data. The YouTube API is how we showed you the video on the details page. The Pexels API was what was responsible for putting all of the pictures on all the individual city cards. And lastly, the COVID tracking API was what gave us the COVID data. Gio, why don't you take us across the finish line?
Thank you, James. Now I'm going to talk about the challenges we faced during this project. We had a lot of people on our team, and everyone had different ideas in the beginning. So we had a team meeting to combine our ideas and start building our app with a unified vision. Working remotely during COVID-19 was pretty challenging, and it affected our communication in regards to the status of our app and making sure that everyone was on the same page. But we overcame this by using a Slack's group call and Zoom calls often. Some of the biggest technical challenges was finding the right APIs for our application and some merging conflicts when committing on GitHub. Every day, we improve by doing research and collaborating even more each day. Now, let's move to our future releases. For the stretch goal of our app, we have a vision to integrate more filter options, such as activities or rating. Also, having the ability of purchasing flights, booking a hotel, and renting a car on our platform. This will allow our users to stay in our website and not be redirected anymore. We highly believe that maybe we could have accomplished these goals by having a couple of weeks more. That is Travvy, and now I would like to open up for some questions. Thank you.
Great. We have numerous questions coming in from the chat. So this is a question for everyone on the team. Do you prefer to work alone or on a team?
I'll start with this one. To be honest, prior to doing this cohort, I felt that I preferred to work alone, but coding is pretty challenging, and I think that I actually prefer working with a team, because whenever I get stuck on something, I have people that I can ask and help me through that right away. So
yeah, I'll second that one. I think it was really great to have. I mean, everybody has different strengths and weaknesses, and throughout the cohort, certain people latch on to certain subject matter, and so it was fun to be able to work with someone who had complementary skills to you, and you could sort of learn from each other and accomplish the task as a team.
I'll go next. Personally, I really liked working as a team. Basically, since I joined the Army, it's been always like that. Basically, and that's what I really love about being in the military as well. So for that reason, I'm believing that I'm going to choose always working as a team.
Yeah, I'll have to agree with all of my teammates so far. Again, just transitioning from the military to software engineering, one of the things that drove me to this field was being able to work on teams and being able to collaborate together to put out an awesome product like I feel like we did for Travvy. So I definitely say work on a team.
Yeah, and I would agree with that as well, Rod. It's important. You get a lot more work done. Learning how to communicate and to divide up work is essential. I think we accomplished that and learned a lot. And there is a time to do something individually, but teamwork is definitely the way to go if you're approaching it the right way.
Great. What criteria did you apply for finding the right API?
Augie, you want to take this one?
Sure. So, I mean, I think we pretty much just, made a list of the different features we wanted to have on the site, and then prioritize them. Like, it was essential that we had flight information, right? It's a travel site. It was essential that we had weather because that was sort of the primary thing that set us apart from other existing tools in the marketplace. And then it was also important that we had COVID information because, that's vitally important right now when you're making your travel plans, and other websites also don't have a great COVID information option. And so once we kind of had those three things, we had a long list of other options as well that we thought about, but we had to make a cut somewhere. And so once we had those three things, we just sort of did a bunch of research, find out what provides the information, what's like easy to implement quickly, what is free for developers to use. And so we just kind of, read reviews and read blog posts and stuff about different API options and tested out a few before we settled on the ones that we did. And so it was sort of an iterative process for sure. And everybody kind of had a hand in the research part of it.
Awesome. Great. Where is it? A few more questions. What was the hardest problems you had to solve for this project? Anybody can take that one.
I'll take that. I would definitely say it's, the way our application was developed, you need different pieces of data in different areas of the application, and passing that around can be a challenge. So we found this thing called, the technical term for it is global state. And we were able to kind of lift everything up to one level, kind of a mothership, if you will, so we could pull down the information that we needed from that. Once we found that global state management tool, it made our lives a lot easier with passing the information around that we needed. If there's any other thoughts on that, yeah.
I'll piggyback off that as well. Definitely agree with the global state. And what we were able to do was set those user preferences into user state and write an algorithm to then filter all of the API JSON data we received from the flight information to then specifically show the user what it is, what met their preferences based off that global state, as well as the temperature slider as well to make it more dynamic.
Awesome. And the last question we'll take is, what went into making the ticker that you had for the data information about COVID? What went into that?
Yeah, I can touch on that as well. So what we did is, as a team, we used a COVID API to call and get the latest information from there. And then we used a component called React Ticker. And we transferred that data over to React Ticker, formatted it the way we wanted it, the speed we wanted it, and had it on the homepage. So really it was as simple as making the API call to get the coronavirus info and then using that React Ticker component on the homepage.
Awesome. Thank you, Travvy. And that concludes the final project presentations. Now I'd like to pass it over to Rod.
The other Rod, right?
The other Rod, sorry.
Thanks, Dom. Thanks everyone, Mike Platoon. Those were awesome demos, some really cool games, apps. I know what I'll be doing this weekend in terms of searching my travel options and growing some plants. So of course, you guys did all the hard work coding these demos, but I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the hard work and dedication of our teaching staff. Noah, Tom, Encore, Chris, John, and our 2 teaching assistants, Alyssa and Mary, who were instrumental in our students' success. So to you, our graduates, as you are now our graduates, we're very proud of the work you put in. 18 weeks ago, you were looking and working on your pre-work. 16 weeks ago, you were spending 10 to 12 hours a day learning algorithms. 6 weeks ago, you were wondering when the hell this program was going to be done. Of course, you had still 6 weeks to go. And now it's finally over. But it's really just the beginning of your next phase, and we can't wait to see the cool things you will accomplish in the future. So Tom, take it from here.
Thanks, Rod. As Rod said, my name is Tom Preet. I'm the lead instructor here at Code Platoon, and I'm accompanied by my fellow instructors. Noah.
Sorry, I was muted. Hi, I'm Noah Heinrich, and I'm an instructor here at Code Platoon.
And I'm Encore Shah. I'm new to Code Platoon. I just want to say congrats to all the students. Great job.
I'd also like to thank Chris Howell, an amazing developer, Code Platoon alumni, and fellow teaching assistant. I'd also like to thank our amazing TA interns, Mary Shen and Alyssa Art. And yeah, without our amazing TAs, Noah, Ankur, and I couldn't provide the support that helps make Code Platoon successful. So many thanks to Chris, Mary, and Alyssa. And with that, to close the Mike Platoon graduation, we'd like to congratulate each student. So congratulations to Tim Gavin.
Congratulations, Emma Da Silva.
Congratulations, Luis Hernandez.
Congratulations, Heather Salyer.
Congratulations, Timothy Cummings.
Congratulations, Jarrett Hosey.
Congratulations, Tommy Lusk.
Congratulations, Yang Zhao.
Congratulations, Julius Bautista.
Congratulations, Augie Karish.
Congratulations, Michael Rod Rodriguez.
Congratulations, Aizad Kolchoroyeva.
Congratulations, Jarrett Stiles.
Congratulations, Michael Grandori.
Congratulations, Jason Rideout.
Congratulations, James Bellamy.
Congratulations, Brittany Lane.
Congratulations, Dylan Southwick.
Congratulations, Zachary Jarrell Thomas.
Congratulations, Francisco Frankie Fabrash.
Congratulations, Giovanni Ordonez.
Congratulations, Matthew Estope.
And that concludes the Mike Platoon graduation. Mike Platoon dismissed. Good job, everyone.
Great work.
Congrats, everyone.